Teams and coaches look for new players traditionally, it's the window. How are you doing keeping your players, and are there plans for you to go looking for other players?
Yeah, there's definitely plans for us to go looking for other players. As with every team, you know, we are, as I've said, frequently in a rebuilding process. This is year one, as I see it. There's, you know, we've got a lot of development which is working its way through, but we still need to add more quality top-end players to the mix, and we've identified certain areas that we need to strengthen in, and you know that's ongoing regularly. This week, next week, you know, we're talking to people and agents all the time on that front.
That you have when you want to attract players is that you could entice them with Heineken Cup rugby. That's an issue for you now, isn't it, really? Yeah,
regardless of that, it's an issue anyway, you know. It's been really frustrating with our Magners League performances, and maybe not so much the performances as the results in the main. We've been a couple of points off winning games, which has meant that we have picked up bonus points, but we haven't picked up winning points. So it's hugely frustrating for us. Obviously, the game against the Dragons was a huge game, without a shadow of a doubt, you know, and to get a result up there has brought everything back, brought everybody back into the mix. You know, nobody's going to pull away. I don't think. I think it's definitely going to be we're going to slug it out between ourselves and the Blues, you know, and the Dragons, and it's going to be an intense couple of months, I think, and the last month of the season could be very interesting.
I think given much hope going over there, Nigel. Them lost at all in something 30 matches or whatever. Yeah. They'll probably bring back their big guns this weekend before you
yeah.
Mountain challenge.
Yeah, it's a huge challenge to go out there, you know. They've got a massive reputation, and sometimes the reputation can beat you before you get on the park, and we've got to be mindful of that. The key area for us, when I look at our game and the structure of our game, I'm reasonably comfortable. The one area that we're losing out on continually is the contact area, and there's nobody going to pose more of a problem for us than Munster in that facet of play. It's the main focus of our game over the next couple of months. If we get that right in our game, I'm comfortable that the rest of our game there's enough in place. But that's the big challenge for us, is the contact area, with and without the ball.
Is your task more difficult, the fact that Munster got beat at Ulster last week?
Yeah, they're obviously going to be smarting from that, but I think they pretty much had their back line, but they're going to bring some of their forwards in, I would have thought, for this game, even though they play on the Saturday, so it's a pretty tight turnaround for them. I would have thought they'd go full strength against us. That's what we're anticipating. And yeah, you know, they want to, like we do, you know, want to sign off this series of Magners going into the next stage of Europe with a win.
Historically, people have always seen the Scarlets and Munster as being very similar, kind of, you won't like you saying this, but kind of outposts.
Yeah. You
know, where they're kind of, what's the word, tribalism, parochialism, whatever you call it, is a real positive. Is that something that you would like to see this group of players kind of adopt?
Oh, absolutely, you know, and you know, it's something that all the players are aware of. They're all aware of the history of this place, and you know, we think of ourselves as the true Welsh region in terms of Welsh speaking, and you know, we hold dear to the values that have been in this place and Stradi for over 100 years, and you know, they're quite clear that the boys know what they are, and we measure ourselves against them constantly. And yes, you know, we'd like to use that to motivate our players and to give us strength in what we are and where we've come from. But this is a new group of players. It is a rebuilding process, and it's a journey that we're on. The Magners League is a real tight confrontational league, very difficult. There's no team hammering any other team anymore. So little things matter. As I say, I think the general structure of our game and what we're trying to achieve, I take a lot of comfort out of, because I can understand, as a coach, when I'm looking at us play, I understand what we're trying to do. Where the game has gone really is the contact area is king at the moment. and that's an area that we're not particularly good at. We're way behind the leaders of the pack there, if you like, and Ospreys certainly did a job on us there. Even Dragons, to a certain extent, won that battle, and Leinster certainly did in the 2 weeks previous. So that's the real challenge for us. And every team has a priority. Every team has a way that they want to play, and they tend to focus on that. We focus on that structure and framework, and falling short maybe in the bits and pieces that allow you to build your game, and the contact is key, really. I've already said that I would be really interested in getting a group of coaches, administrators, referees together to talk around the contact laws in particular, because I think there's a big disconnect between us all, and I'm part of that process, and I think it's very, very confusing for not only coaches but obviously your average spectator as well, as to some of the decisions that go on in that area, and sometimes the lack of decisions that go on in that area, and I would, for one, would really like that area cleared up. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen if we don't come together collectively, and it's an ongoing thing, really. I think.
Was suggesting in one of the papers last weekend, Nigel, about a meeting between Regions and Moore and Gatland about injury situation.
Yeah, we'd welcome that, because obviously most of our injuries have occurred in the Welsh camp, so we'd more than welcome that. I think it's important because we, for the period that we have the players, obviously they're with us, we know what their injury status is, we know where their rehab status is, and to have that crossover between national and region is very important. We've got a couple of players coming back who may well be involved nationally, people like Matthew Rees, so it's important that that information transfer goes on.
So you want players back as soon as possible, ideally, don't you, in terms of obviously cups?
Do you have a problem with players being called straight in the national squad when they have just come out of injury?
Yeah, I think we and how that player is then managed, and the continuity.
Because they would just probably throw him in and just expect him to deliver straight away.
Well, I don't know if that's the case, but I think the continuity of that is very important, and just through a communication really with each other, I think is key.
It's been a baptism of fire, also, isn't it? So
yeah. I think it's typical of young players coming through the system, because we are asking a lot of them. You take John Davies now, all of a sudden he's become a key player for us, and gone from a couple of years ago probably playing no more than 20 games at age grade level to now being a regular starter with us and having a lot of responsibility within our team, and what you'll find is that there'll be challenging times for them. I think John has come through the Six Nations, the autumn series, which has been tough for him, but he's come back a much stronger player, and he's showing some great form at the moment. I thought probably against the Dragons the big difference in the two teams was the midfield, and John is a big part of that, and I thought the midfield had a good game against the Ospreys as well.